Welcome to Beyond Sunday, the King of Kings podcast, where we dive a little bit deeper into our sermon series and see what we're taking beyond Sunday. My name is Dina Newsom, and I have two delightful guests today.
Delightful by Dina.
This is Professor Wilhelm Wingerding. And who do we have here?
Sometimes I forget my name. It's been a long week. But I'm Dr. Flutterby Flick.
All right, Dr. Flutterby. I've changed my accent. Did you could
So many times.
Yes. And who knows if this will be what happens at VBS. Peter Bay here.
What was great was my compatriot on stage, my fellow villain for VBS. He goes in and out of his accent pretty regularly.
Yes,
so
he does.
Half of the time he sounds like a mix of Kermit the Frog and Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
And other times he's just saying. It's wonderful.
It's VBS week here at our Millard campus at King of Kings. We've got two more VBSs coming up in the next couple of weeks at Fremont and Northwest. And our campus directors are blessed with being the scientists this year that are challenging our kids to raise their goal for the mission project.
They're going to do it.
VBS. Yeah, they are.
I think we won't. I'm going to go on. I'm going to say that King of Kings Northwest for the first time in history won't make their goal, and then they won't receive whatever gift or punishment for the first time in the history of.
Peter is only saying that because he knows what the punishment is, and he wants to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
Is it the same punishment that we have?
Mm-hmm.
It is the same punishment you have, and we don't need to talk about it.
You know what we should do, though? We should do a screening party.
I'm sure there'll be video later.
Jake the Snake Roberts putting his python on Macho Man Randy Savage, and the python bites the Macho Man.
There's
That's what you need to see
some
to get
clues
ready
in there
this.
for you folks to learn what the punishment is for
And it's
VBS
not wrestling.
this year. Yeah. There's also a giant 40-foot snake hanging from the corridor in Millard. Stop by Millard this week if you haven't yet.
Yep.
It'll be gone this weekend.
Yeah, I'm fine with that guy. He's pretty cool.
Mhm.
If he came to life, though,
It'd be something else.
it'd be bad for all of us.
There's a little girl here who's convinced it's a dragon. She says it's a dragon.
Yeah,
no
that's
matter
fine.
how much we've told her, she's convinced it's a dragon.
They've got to be related.
Yeah, in some way. Okay, well, I have a great question for you guys today.
All
It's
right,
very
we're ready.
Nebraska appropriate.
Oh, I don't know how we'll do then. Both of us
I
being from
know.
Wisconsin.
This week, June 11th, is National Corn on the Cob Day.
Ooh.
Classic
Mhm.
treasure of the Midwest. So my question is, A, it's a two-part question. A, do you like corn on the cob? B, what do you put on your corn on the cob?
Mhm.
Or do you cook it a certain way? Some people are real particular about how they cook their corn on the cob.
Yep. You want to go first, Peter?
Be cautious. You might offend some people.
All right.
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
looking forward to
So
it.
here's how we do it at the Flick House. One of two ways. There's the super low-key way. We just boil it. It's already shucked and everything else. Boil it, and then you have to have the stick of butter on its butter tray. We don't have butter trays in our house. Who am I kidding? The piece of Tupperware.
I grew up with
or
a butter
whatever.
tray. I know what you're saying.
And then you roll it over top of that with salt. So that's the easy way. But my favorite way is we keep, it's all not shucked or anything. You just take as much of the hair off the top as possible and you throw it on the grill. But while you're doing it, you take an empty coffee can, which doesn't have coffee in it because that would be gross. But then you put 2 sticks of butter, and then you fill up water up to a certain point of the little coffee can.
And dip it in.
And the water and the butter inside of the grill heats up to this delicious
Wow.
butter lava.
Mhm.
And so when you're done with the grilled corn, you take the ear, and you have all the stuff. You take it off, and then you just upside down dunk it,
Yeah.
Wow.
and then the what do you call this stuff? The husk. The husk then it acts as a glove over your hand, so you don't get the hot butter, and you just shake salt all over it. It is phenomenal.
Grilled
Yeah.
in the husk, dipped in butter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My stance is that corn is a way for butter to get to your body. And
It is the vehicle
Yes.
chosen.
yes, and corn itself is lame and useless, and I can never eat it again.
You just offended all 12 of our listeners, I think.
There are literally hundreds of listeners to this podcast.
There are. You're right.
And I've probably offended several of them, but I'm standing by it. I'd be fine to never eat corn on the cob again.
That is
But
a summer hot
I
take,
do
my
love
friend.
butter. So it's like if this is how I'm going to get butter into my body,
you could just eat butter.
It's a way.
Yeah,
it's a way. If I had deep fried butter, I would pick that over corn on the cob every day.
Any day.
Yeah, and I've got Fragile teeth. Like I never got braces, and so my teeth get stuff stuck in them very easily. And so corn is like, then my mouth is like a half pound heavier because I just have corn everywhere. Can't get it out. So yeah, there you go.
So what are you taking beyond Sunday?
I love corn on the cob. I love corn in general. Like corn, I was born in Nebraska. I was raised here. I lived somewhere else for a while, but then came back. I love corn on the cob. I love grilled. I love it boiled. However you.
This is like a Dr. Seuss book.
Yep, it is.
I will eat that.
Yep, I will eat it in a box. I will eat it in a coffee can.
Yep.
No, that did sound great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because of the butter.
Yes.
I'm rethinking this now. This is like a butter conspiracy. You know, like who knew?
Big everyone Butter else has was put
like,
this together.
Everyone else was like taking the corn off the cob to cook. And then the butter companies came around and went, hey, let's market this.
Have you tried it on the cob?
Because you don't put nearly as much butter on it when you just serve it in a bowl.
Right.
But what would it be like if we just took all that butter and water, just put it in the middle of the table and be like, you going to drink that? I can tell you right now, 3 out of my 5 boys would be like, yep.
I don't know. One of my, a single child of mine, I used to have to not put the butter in the back of the grocery cart when she was in it because she would open it and just take handfuls and eat it.
So good for your skin.
Multiple times.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. I don't know how that transitions to guardrails, but maybe we need to put some guardrails around the butter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
Watch your butter intake, your salt intake. We are in our second week of the Guardrail series, and this week, Pastor Zach Zender took us through guardrails around social media. What are you guys taking beyond Sunday from this week's message?
Yeah, a lot of conviction. We'll get to in the discussion, but the 3 ways to guard. For me, I don't even have my own Instagram. Like I only have a church account, and I still find myself scrolling on that thing, and so conviction in the time I'm spending. But then also it can be used for good. So I'm excited to talk about the positives and the challenges to social media.
Yeah, I would say conviction as well, because I have my own social media account, but I rarely use it. So if you were to look at my posting, there's literally 12 posts ever. And one of them was just a couple of days ago for my anniversary. And that was it. But I think what your point was, Peter, about it's not all bad.
Right.
So my algorithm is pretty vanilla, probably by most, standards, because it's preachers that I really like to follow and sermons and musical groups and, it's not bad. But for me, the conviction comes in after I said, I just want to look at this one thing. Mm-hmm. And then how many minutes later have I just ignored everybody else in the room that I actually care the most about to look at something that I care very little about? So I would say that's where I'm at with that.
Right.
3 hours, 14 cat videos, 12 soldier came home videos.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
Is that your algorithm?
I don't know. At one time, yes. Oh, the soldiers surprising their kids when they come home. Those get me.
Those are beautiful.
I'm a sucker.
There's
I'm
a good
sucker
one
for those. Oh my goodness.
Milwaukee Lutheran High School just went viral all across the nation.
Okay.
And this is a high school that was really close to where we were at. In fact, I still have friends that are teachers there, and a sister came home from serving overseas.
Like a nun?
No. The sister of somebody who was graduating, a sibling. Yeah. And the magistrate or whatever the lady's name was that was officiating the whole service, she gets to this this one student. She's like, well, I don't have this student's diploma. Hey, do you have it? And the other guy was like, no, I don't got it. And she was like, hey, can you go in the back and take a look? And, what they're doing is they're setting up his sister. Dude has no idea. The graduate has no idea that his sister came all the way across the pond, just to be there for that moment. And then they make this announcement. They're like, I think we found it. It had to travel a long way. And of course, then she's in the back, and then she reads his name, and then they run to each other. It is awesome.
See, and
that's not bad.
That's the positive
I'm
side.
completely sucked in. I'm
Right,
all about it.
And my algorithm's pretty great, actually. It's like Boys to Men, WWE,
and that's
NBA,
on the King of Kings
Preachers.
Northwest account.
Yes, that's on the King of Kings Northwest account.
I love it.
And it's great. I could spend a lot of time checking those things out. But yeah, for me, it's that same thing of who am I ignoring at what expense?
I thought it was a little bit ironic that, I do the podcast schedule and I schedule 2 people. And I thought it was funny that you 2 got scheduled today because you 2 are the least social media active.
And yet
of any.
We're also responsible for our own individual campuses' social media.
It's not going great.
And it's not intentionally not going great. That's not it at all. It's just not part of my makeup.
Yeah. I thought that was really funny. There's a lot that I'm taking away, but I really just like the reminder that this is something that you can often argue is used for good, but it still is only with good measure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Zach talked about. All right. So how can an individual examine how much social media is influencing their lives and whether it really aligns with the values of being a Christ follower?
Yeah. So Seth, what is the verse that is like, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is pure?
That's Philippians, I think, chapter 4.
Okay. So I think that for me is a great framework. Like, and so that's, I'm not convicted in what I'm seeing. Now, if something pops up on my algorithm that's unhealthy,
Right,
then
because that exists.
right. But like, to see funny videos or NBA highlights or golf highlights or whatever, those things to me, it's like, yeah, this is noble. These things fit within that, those verses. Let me read it for you all. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, pure, lovely, admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So that is a great framework for me with the things that I'm consuming. And on the adverse side of that, it would be like things that lead to comparing or things that lead to lusting or things that lead to sin. And so for me, that's an easy framework to decide is what I'm looking at worth it or not. And even then, there's a whole time thing we're going to get to later.
Yeah. I think one of the kind of guardrail pieces that isn't thought about as much is, I think most people that interact with social media understand what an algorithm is. And they think like, and Chad, Zach brought this up a little bit as well during his message. They think that the For You page of whatever it is that you're watching is set by the algorithm. Like it's observing what you like, and therefore it's presenting you with things that you would like. But in all reality, algorithms aren't necessarily planned just that way. There's other external pieces that are part of the formulas. So what do other 44-year-old guys like to watch on their algorithm? What do other guys in your area like to look at in their algorithm? And the algorithm will suggest these things by means of placing them on your For You page. So what most people don't realize is that you think you're shaping your algorithm, but the longer and longer you interact with social media, your algorithm is actually being used to shape you. And so it's much more of a discipleship.
Dun.
Yes. Or no. How about like we'll go Law and Order? Dun dun. Because it's a little bit more convicting when you think about it that way. And that's what I think is so insidious about some aspects of social media is that you don't realize how much it's forming you because it's just passively happening, just like one little drip at a time. And then all of a sudden, maybe there are things that show up on your For You page or your algorithm where you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? And you're like, oh, well, it's because I looked too long at this other thing. And because I was presented this other thing that I didn't swipe, quite quickly enough through, because then the algorithm thought I actually might entertain whatever that is. So I think that would be the part that I would look at is the more and more you engage with it, the less and less control you think you have, or you actually have over it.
Yeah, 41-year-olds in my area must really love Boys to Men.
ABC
WWE.
and BBD, the East Coast family.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how R&B.
I'm getting a lot of that.
Dun, 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 dun. right. So the sermon mentions the gradual, almost unnoticed shaping effect social media has on us. How can we remain vigilant in discerning in our digital consumption?
Well, I think I just touched a little bit on what that is, just like that slow drip of forming you who you are. And I'm going to touch a bit on this in the last Guardrails sermon about how it really is slow movement over time is going to show the biggest advances in your character, and like the pressures that like can be stood up underneath with the power of the Holy Spirit over slow drip kind of time changes who you are. And that can either be for good or it can be for really bad. And, social media is a tool, so could use it for either one. But more often than not, if you're just passively going to allow something to be in your life, it's not going to make you a better person.
Right. I think about in my childhood, we didn't really have social media as much, but I think about like something that the people around me, I would see them just spending lots of time on and ignoring the people around them. And it was considered a very wholesome thing, the newspaper. And to be informed of what's going on in your local news can be a good thing. And if you're not informed, it's like, I'm not even sure how bad of a thing that is. But so my dad loved reading the newspaper every single morning. I did not like the smell of it. I did not like the sound of it. But the bigger thing was that I didn't like that he wouldn't talk to me when he was reading his newspaper, right? And that it was totally fair that he wanted to start the day off with the newspaper. And so I think it's not just our social media, but it's whatever we are spending our time on is what's going to shape and form us. And just it happens to be that the average person is averaging many hours every day on social media, and that's going to affect you one way or another. And so I do feel like moderation in regards to social media has kind of gone out the window, and honestly, just the use of smartphones. When I was a teen, and I would ask you guys, when you were a teen, what was your avenue to freedom? Like, what was a milestone of freedom for you in your teenage years?
Driving.
When I finally figured out like the smoke signals, because I'm old, or like tapping out Morse code.
Shut up. You're not that old.
No, I would say that it was driving.
Driving was like a big one, yeah.
Right, driving for sure. I think for most people that was big. You can finally get out, you can visit your friends, you can go to the movie, you can hang out at the drive-thru or whatever it is. And but most parents had some rules. You get home, you put the keys on the refrigerator, you don't.
Or you could only drive certain areas. Like I couldn't go anywhere in town.
Yes.
My parents had to know where I was going, but also I could only go within these boundaries.
And your state governed rules about it too. Until a certain age, you weren't allowed to have people outside your family. If you had your permit, you could only go to school and work, and those rules still exist. Well, now
I see where you're going with this. This is wise.
Now I'd say the milestone to freedom is actually smartphones, but most kids are getting them earlier, and there's way less guardrails being put on them. Or training to learn how to use them wisely and who to use them with and when to use them. And so I think how I, as a parent of young kids, parent that into my kids, intentionality is going to matter, and it will help shape them positively or negatively.
It's also a huge difference, I think, between, how it affects the brain and the just mental health in general of young people when they get them without any guardrails on them. And we don't even know the full effects of that because it's only been 15 years maybe since smartphones have been around.
Right.
Like I'm looking back. My children, I have 3 children. 2 of them are 28 and 27. So they were very close in age. They got smartphones. They came out. They were available to them when they were in high school. That was the age, which is a more appropriate age for them. When we first got them, we didn't put a lot of restrictions on them. We were excited that this was a tool that they could use, and social media was not really as popular when they first got their phones. My son is 10 years younger than his oldest sibling. It was a completely different dynamic when he got a smartphone. We got him a smartphone much younger because it was convenient, or it was what his friends did. And it was a struggle. He felt pressured to, now my friends are starting to get phones. I want a phone, and a flip phone didn't do, There is a Netflix documentary, and I couldn't remember the name of it, so I just looked it up. The Social Dilemma. Have you guys watched that?
Yeah, that's like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it came out during COVID, like 2020, and it's absolutely amazing. And it talks about the algorithms and how they are based on shaping your psyche, and how they're just used to feed you content that you are selecting, but also content that people are paying for, to select to you. So that's a really good. I'm fascinated. I feel like there's been a shift just in my lifetime. I didn't have a cell phone until I was a grown woman with children. Like, it wasn't even an option. And my children were of decent age, where my oldest got a cell phone probably 2 years after I got one, because that's when it became convenient, in our family. And so I feel like I've watched the arch of how social media has changed. Even when social media first became popular in my life, I would not say in everyone's, but I would say it was 2010 before I was really active on social media. And the majority of my friends were also on social media. And that's, just over 15 years ago, and how much it has changed since then. At first, it really was the picture of your messy kitchen or, your family vacation photo, but it was not the highlight reel that it has become. And Zach talked a lot about that, especially with the pictures of his boys and how they really didn't enjoy the day at the baseball game.
I can't believe all the hate on the Brewers.
Yeah.
Come on now.
He was very positive about the sausage race, though.
Yeah, well, that is a big thing. And for those who, I don't think many people know what he was talking about, but in the 7th inning stretch, they have, I kid you not, 8-foot Polish sausage, Italian sausage, chorizo, hot dog, bratwurst that race against each other along the entire dirt warning track.
Yeah, it's all of it. Perhaps the greatest tradition in sports.
I'm thinking this is maybe something we could do here at King of Kings.
Easily.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have large cobs of corn race against each other.
Just as long as Peter doesn't have to eat them.
One without a husk, one with lots of butter, so it's hard for them to run.
There you go.
I do think this does open the door for me to share my favorite mascot story. So I went to a Storm Chasers game. That's the would that be semi-pro? Whatever.
I don't know. I don't follow baseball at all.
Yeah.
AAA ball team here in Omaha is fantastic experience, family-friendly stuff. And I happened to go on a peanut allergy day. And so they had power washed the entire stadium to get rid of all the peanuts, because a kid who has a peanut allergy can never go to a baseball game.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
Yes. And so there's one game a year where they did peanut-free allergy day. And they would have a kid on the Jumbotron. My name's Timmy. I've never been to a baseball game. Thank you, Storm Chasers. So then, in the 7th inning.
Apparently, I've never been on live television before.
This giant mascot peanut showed up in the outfield.
Just get booed.
And yes, and the announcer was like, "Peanut, you're not allowed here. You're not supposed to be here." And everyone started booing. And then all the other mascots beat him up and carried him out. And it was my favorite mascot moment of all time. So just wanted to bring that up.
That's a good one. All right, back to the experience with the highlight reel. I like that that's your highlight reel.
That was not the focus when social media was first started. You know what I mean? But it is what it has become. And I love the behind the scenes pictures you see of, what angle someone is standing at to try to get the perfect angle of their omelet for breakfast or whatever. It's just silly.
That is one thing I actually like about our Scotty, who does social media here, is he almost always includes bloopers and stuff like that.
Yes.
So then people realize that when we're doing whatever it is we're doing, prayers, study, or whatever, what you see is a final edited copy, but working in those bloopers lets everybody realize that this was multiple attempts. This was, actually thinking it through and praying it through and messing it up sometimes. And I think that there's an honesty to that that's refreshing.
And just laughing a lot.
Yeah.
That we laugh a lot together as a staff.
Yep.
Okay, can you discuss the balance between using social media as a tool for ministry and avoiding the pitfalls of comparison and distraction? How do we stay true to that calling in a digital age? Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I just shake my head because that, I think, if we could figure that out and put this over the airwaves, or is it airwaves? It's digital now, so whatever. I think that people would pay millions of dollars for that kind of an answer. And sadly, I think Christians do just as poorly of a job, if not worse, because we have such a clearer standard that's communicated to us. And we have such a higher level of importance that the Lord has given us to like care for our families and fulfill our vocations and invest our time wisely in creative and beautiful things that are good and noble. And instead we waste our time. So like if somebody else that doesn't have those expectations doesn't fulfill them, well, that's one thing. But when someone has told you like, no, there's something so much better than what you could be doing right now. On the other hand, Zach was right. Like, how many people have heard the gospel now, or they've opened up the scriptures because they heard, some really good teaching that occurred there, or they were in, maybe they're in the throes of depression and they happened to be scrolling and they found some word of hope from the gospel. So I think one of the biggest differences that I could like try to grow from is creating more positive content, not for the sake of shaping an algorithm, but as in like, look, if somebody's going to be on there anyways, why not invade the darkness of social media with the light of Christ and hope? So maybe that's just something that would be an easy way to like take a good step forward.
Right. Yeah. The scripture that he tied into this message, one of them was Romans 12:2. And the gist of it is don't conform to the patterns of this world. And then how does the second part go?
Yeah. Do not be conformed any longer to the patterns of this world, but be transformed. So like,
right.
I love that too. That I think that's what you're going to talk about, the difference between being conformed by the world, but the difference is big when it's transformed for the gospel. So that you may know the will of God. So you may know and approve the will of God.
Right.
His good, pleasing, and perfect will.
And one thing I liked about that is it tied to week one, Seth, when you preached about instruction leading to wisdom, leading to understanding. So if you're not receiving instruction, you're not going to be able to approve and test and know, is this from God's word and is it not? Or be convicted by it. But when the word is dominant, well, then we become transformed through Christ, through the Holy Spirit, and we can actually transform what some people use as a negative tool to be positive, as to what you were speaking into before, Seth. And so, yes, that thought of comparison is hard. But my favorite way to combat comparison is face-to-face encouragement, to see the people around us and to see the way God has made them and to tell them about it.
You are naturally gifted at that, though. Like the first day of VBS, Peter comes up and he's like, okay, now for doing this role for Vacation Bible School to make sure you get these kids engaged. So like that's the overall role. And then he gave us like a ton of ideas. So like that is very natural to who you are. Like the Lord has wired you in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I need to remember that too, because we all have a tendency to really press the strengths that God has given us. But I think everyone has the ability to look around them and see the positive things going on and then cheer people on. And some people are naturally more cheerleaderish and some people are not. But the more often we would lean into encouragement, the better it will be for the people around you and for you, because it's going to be less about self-loathing and more.
Did you say Seth-loathing? Seth-loathing? Yeah.
Comparison's hard, though. I mean, like another person on my algorithm is Philip Anthony Mitchell.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yes, and he's this fantastic believer, and he's a pastor, and that guy gets after it, and I'm like, I listen to him preach and I get a lot out of it. And then I'm also like, oh,
I'm not that good.
Not that. I am not that. And so it's like, then I have to be reminded, what am I? One, I'm a child of God. Two, God has given me giftings and geniuses that other people don't have. And even if some people don't value them the way that others would, or they like, well, that's not fair either. I'm not like, who am I to doubt God's craftsmanship in me or the people around me? So it's an active thing to fight against daily.
I really like the piece of, you said face-to-face encouragement. And I think that's what I struggle with the hardest. People who argue that they're using social media for quote unquote ministry related. Oh, well, I'm spreading the word of God. Well, if you're getting in an argument with a complete stranger on a neighborhood Facebook app and you're quoting the Bible, I'm not going to say that's really bringing someone to Christ. Mm-hmm. He wants us to be in relationship with each other. And that's a face-to-face piece. That's a community piece. And so that, I think, is where social media can be a valuable tool. It can enhance relationships. But I think we have to remember that there has to be that face-to-face relationship too.
Yep.
And that is a big piece that's what Jesus acted out.
Yeah. I've been tracking along with Proverbs, because that's what this whole Guardrails series is all about. And I'm forgetting which chapter it was, if it was 8 or 9. It was one that I've read in the last day or two, but it's essentially like don't argue with a mocker, because they will just insult you. And I was like, that is so true. So that person that you're disagreeing with on your Facebook neighborhood group because they're rude, like, if you argue with them, they're only going to insult you. Mm-hmm. So don't do it. Don't waste your breath, waste your time, your energy, put yourself in a bad mood. So there's some good stuff in Proverbs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was listening to it this morning too. And I was like, if you desire to be wise, seek wisdom. A fool will seek folly. I'm like, that's not wrong. The dumb get dumber, the smart get smarter.
Me and the kids have been chanting folly a lot, because that's what we decide is if we see something that is folly, we're going to chant it. So it's coming up a lot in the house.
I'm trying to picture that, just, out getting ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
You get the wrong change, and all the kids are like, folly, folly. A lot of self-loathing then happens.
A lot of self-loathing.
Yep.
I'm now going to think of that every time I say self-loathing.
It's fine. I'm going to work in a lot of those. Like, you could reference First Thessalonians if you wanted to. If a doctor needs to listen to your heart, he can use his doctor stethoscope.
A stethoscope.
Mm-hmm. I've used that before in ministry. It's good stuff.
All right. So Zach talked about the story of Peter walking on water, and it was used as an analogy for maintaining focus in chaotic times. What practical steps can our listeners take to keep focus on Jesus amidst life distractions?
There's a pretty amazing painting that's come out probably like in the last 10 years or so. And it's actually from Peter's perspective while under the water. So we don't know if he was totally submerged or whatever. But what's beautiful is it's from his perspective under the water, and the water is kind of choppy, so you can't quite see everything. But the one thing you can see clearly right above Peter is Jesus right above him, like reaching his hand down to grab him. And there's movement in this painting, so you can see Peter's hand rushing out to try to grab, and then you can see Jesus's hand is going to be right there. And so to me, that was the image that came to mind, is that when it comes to the failures of social media or whatever, there's never a place where you can get too far into the lake or into whatever it is that Jesus isn't willing to give up his last breath so that you could actually have new life. And that painting to me just kind of makes the moment that Zach was preaching about very alive, but also applicable. Mm-hmm. It's probably made by AI or something. Somebody put it on their algorithm.
Yeah, there's those platitudes at times where people maybe see them as platitudes of you're never too far gone, or there's nowhere you can go where God isn't there. But the reality is God is there, and Jesus' death and resurrection conquers it all. And so I can't outrun his grace. I can't outrun his mercy. And so that is a beautiful explanation of totally submerged already drowning, and he's right there.
Yep.
And he just desires to pull you up. And I think the choice is, like, do we let him? Do we receive the gift? Or do we reject it because we can do it on our own and just keep drowning? And I think when I try to explain to people the difference between like what heaven and hell is, and this is a big thing that came up in our confirmation conversations quite a bit, is because I ask these kids, well, what is heaven? What is hell? And they give me their explanation, and we talk about it. And my favorite way to explain it is we can all think of a time in our life when we felt hopeless. And we can think of a time in our life when we had like great joy. And in that hopeless situation, we felt distant from God. Like I ask the students and the parents, can you think of a time when you were hopeless? And I've seen many parents just immediately tear up because they can connect with that, or maybe they're in it in some way right then. And that is that picture. That is as close as I can fathom to what hell is, because when you feel hopeless, you feel like you can't win. You feel distant. You don't feel like, you may even feel like God's not there. And that's the reality of hell. God's not there. And God is the giver of all good gifts. So if all good gifts are gone, well, that's a terrible and sad situation to be in. And that's actually, for me, a much more compelling reason. I don't want my biggest enemies to ever experience an eternity without love and joy and peace, to be distant from God. And on the inverse side of that, like, we can, hopefully most of us can think of a time when we experienced joy or love or peace. And I think for some people that's hard to come by. Mm-hmm. But that's what heaven's going to be like. And that hand that we didn't even reach for at times will be face to face with him for all eternity. And that's also very compelling. I want everyone to experience that.
Mm-hmm. And there's an immense sense of gratitude that you have and like urgency to share that. So you used the words before, you said, I couldn't fathom what that would be like. And fathom is actually a measurement of the depth of water. And so if somebody else wants to look up, like even more so, what it feels like so that you can have gratitude on the back end of it, like read Jonah, because that's another story of someone actually descending to the depths of water, several fathoms. And he actually says, out of the belly of Sheol, I cried out to you. So like he's talking about from a point of death, I'm crying out for grace and mercy. So like this very thing that you're talking about, that emotion of like yearning for the love and the presence of God and the goodness of God, because maybe somebody isn't connected, or like the urgency of, we don't want anybody to feel that. Like read that part of Jonah and you'll see that like there's an urgency that you get a chance to be the hand that Jesus is extending into the water to bring somebody back out to life again.
There's a Bible study written by John Ortberg from probably the 90s, maybe early 2000s. If you want to walk on water, you got to get out of the boat. Yep. Great study. But this made me think of that. And it made me think of the level of trust that Peter had to have to take that step out of the boat. I mean, hopefully he knew he could swim if he sunk it right away.
He was a fisherman, so I hope so.
I would think so. But just even with all the miracles that he had witnessed, still just to step out of a boat and expect that you can stand on water. I just think the inner turmoil that was happening, like, oh gosh, is this really going to happen? You know?
You know what? There could be several reasons why Jesus named him the Rock, though.
Because he sank. I thought it was because he was so muscular and loved to wrestle. And his best friend is Kevin Hart. Mm-hmm.
Wrong rock.
Oh, dang.
All right. How can we practically implement the 3 guardrails suggested in the sermon, guarding against comparison, temptation, and wasted time?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of practical ways with social media. There's a device called the Brick that you can connect to your phone, and you can block You can block certain apps or only allow yourself to use them for so many minutes a day. And I use that. So I cap out at 30 minutes on my social media because otherwise I could be on there way too long. And so there are things like that. I think there's apps that it'll give you a countdown from like 30 or 60, or you can set that before you can even go on an app. And so like just sitting there and waiting for 60 seconds is so long. And a lot of times you just decide, nope, don't want to do that. So there's some practical ways like that. But I also think establishing some daily rhythms is very healthy as well to put before you get into the less meaningful parts of your day. So yeah, Seth, what do you think?
So I'm on board with all of that, but there is an app. I don't have it, but you have to do you set the amount of push-ups to earn the amount of minutes for social media. So can you imagine you haven't seen somebody in a year and then all of a sudden they're swole, but they're dumb as a rock because they just spent all their time doing push-ups so that they could scroll social media. But when it comes to it, guarding your time, guarding your comparison, I think it's actually really healthy to do set times throughout the year where you're going to just kind of set it aside. So I love things like Lent that are constructed for formation. It's constructed to reset after all of the things that kind of go on autopilot for a year. And so I would highly suggest setting Lent as a time where you really reevaluate how much time you're spending on something like that. So the daily stuff is good. I've got daily stuff on mine too, where it's you can only watch for this many times. But here's the problem. Life 360, for some reason, is considered social media. And so I want to be able to see hey, did my kids make it to school? If he's driving to college, or did he make it to camp? Because one of them is a camp counselor. It'll block it off after I've looked at 10 minutes of Facebook or whatever the stupid setting is. Now, here's the thing with Life 360. It goes both ways. So yeah, I just use it as kind of this thing to help me as a parent to know, yeah, my kid's okay. Oh, okay. They're fine. They also use it on the other side. And I can't tell you how many texts would be hey, Dad, you're going to be kind of swinging past BW3s. Any chance you could pick us up some wings? I went in to go get groceries the other day and Jude was like, can you check and see if they have Pokemon cards there? No.
You're looking around. Wait, what?
And then I knew. Yeah.
I think it starts with just knowing how much you are on social media. Mm-hmm. Check your phone will tell you how much screen time you have. Your apps can tell you how much you're on there. I think most people that think they're moderate or mild social media users would be shocked at the amount of time. And it's just like with your budget. You know how when you're doing your budget and you're okay, where can we cut corners? And then you start looking about, how
often do I eat out?
Yes, that. Or I had a friend that was I added up the amount of money I was spent on getting my nails done in a year. And I was not happy with that number. So I stopped doing my nails. I learned to do them myself, because that was something that now that she was aware of, it was an extravagance she didn't need. And so I think just finding out what your actual numbers look like. And then are you happy with that? Is that the way that you want to be? Mm-hmm. Is that shaping you? Are you letting God transform you through that? Or is that, the ways of the world that are tugging at you potentially away from your relationship?
And what I love about that is, so we were talking about techniques that can help. And that does help when you're on a certain path and relationship with social media. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's something that's deeper that needs to be done with character work that only Jesus can do. So then it's not a matter of how much can you white knuckle through in terms of the law in obedience. I think what you're talking about is how much of you as a person, for some reason, need that kind of stimulation from social media, from your For You page or whatever it is that you're trying to seek out in your scrolling. And if Jesus can actually meet that for you, if real life face-to-face interactions with your family that the Lord has given you can meet those needs for you, how much are you going to need?
If joining a connect group here at church,
yeah, maybe
meet that social interaction,
or being connected to Jesus through baptism, because it's Baptism Sunday coming up this weekend,
or serving, those
at
things
Millard,
at Millard, yep, and then Fremont and the Northwest after each of their VBS weeks.
Awesome. All right, final takeaways from this week's message.
I love Zach's sin cycle. I saw, I covet, I took, I hid. I saw, I covet, I took, I hid. It is very rhythmic. And I think like the rhythm of that like matches with your heartbeat. And when you think about I saw, I covet, I took, you can put that and overlay it over not just biblical stories, but I cannot tell you how accurate that cycle is when I look and like do an autopsy of my own dead self and my own dead sin. I saw, I covet, I took, I hid. And man, if that cycle doesn't get interrupted somehow, man, you're in for a world of cyclical downward spiraling.
Yeah, death. And Proverbs talks about that a bunch, leading to death. The kids they're starting to repeat that kind of stuff.
Folly and death. It must be a fun day at your house.
It is. It's pretty funny.
I don't know if Luke is coming over anymore. Or is he cheering on?
You want him even more now. For me, a couple things. One, there's a secular book named The Anxious Generation. It was one of the biggest books of 2024. Jonathan Haidt, Haidt. If you want to get a glimpse into what social media is doing in the minds of not just young people, but in everyone, and then some practical ideas on how to parent that well, that has been my favorite resource outside of God's word for that. And then finally, one of my favorite verses is, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loves is born of God and knows God. He that does not love God does not know love. Beloved, let us love one another." And that comes from 1 John 4, 7, and 8. And I often have to go through the lens of that to say, how am I doing with that? Am I loving well? And is social media a good use of my time to love well? And if it's not, then I need to curb that, use a guardrail so that I can love well.
Mm-hmm.
I really just liked the 3 points that he made, the 3 guardrails, about looking at comparison, temptation, and wasted time. I think it's really easy to scroll and think it's completely mindless. But okay, why is it that this post is, piquing my interest? Oh, how is it making me feel? Yes, this is a really lovely living room. My living room doesn't look like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now do I feel better or do I feel worse? Am I inspired to change mine, or am I just feeling shallow about my own? I just think that's a filter that we can use, and then look at, okay, is this making me feel better? Is it shaping me in the way that I want? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Next week, it's politics, right?
Yep.
Next sermon. Yep.
Pro corn or anti corn.
There you go. Thank you guys for being here. Until then, let's keep living our faith beyond Sunday.